wire, and I never tire. Yes, sir, I'm a red hot shot. I can cook your meals, turn the factory wheels, 'cause I'm ready kilowatt. When you toast your toast or you roast your roast, it is I who makes them hot. I'm in your TV set with every show you get, 'cause I'm ready kilowatt. I'm the little man who's always there. I'm a powerful high voltage guy. I'm so full of spark I can light up the dark, and you should see me with my electric eye. I wash and dry your clothes, play your radios, I can heat your coffee pot. I am always there with lots of power to spare, 'cause I'm ready kilowatt. Remember, just plug in. I'm ready.
Electricity is penny cheap from NSP to you.
This 100-year celebration for NSP-Wisconsin, it's not necessarily about the company. It's about the people.
That's the key. I mean, if there's anything that makes Wisconsin special, it's the employees.
Their passion for the communities that they live, they work in.
I like to think it always was. We've always been in the community. I mean, you can trace the roots of our Wisconsin company back all the way to the 1870s with predecessor companies.
How the company got its start is pretty interesting. The Wisconsin-Minnesota Light and Power Company, which was then headquartered in La Crosse around the mid-19-teens, decided to build a dam, which eventually became the Lake Wissota Hydroelectric Project. The company had to take out loans from Northern States Power Company of Minnesota to do that. And when the hydroelectric project was completed, it then would sell the electricity back to Northern States Power Company of Minnesota. What would happen in the years after the dam was created, some very low water level years, and the dam wasn't generating as much electricity as it was forecasted to do. And the Wisconsin-Minnesota Light and Power Company faced some significant financial challenges. In 1923, Wisconsin-Minnesota Light and Power Company was acquired by Northern States Power Company of Minnesota. At that time, and still currently, the state of Wisconsin has a law that if you provide electric service to customers in the state, you have to be incorporated in the state. So then the company moved their headquarters from La Crosse in 1923 to Eau Claire and incorporated as Northern States Power Company of Wisconsin in 1924. The company had a long history in northwestern Wisconsin over that time, but with a lot of growth through the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
You can trace that back to a good financial management, of course, but a big part of that is good relationships with our regulators. So it's also legislators, it's also communities.
And those folks that were part of our company and our forefathers that brought those products and services to the communities to essentially help those communities grow when they were fledgling, and it was a very important duty.
We're only as strong as the communities that we serve, and this is where we live, this is where we work, this is where we put our passions. And during emergent times, we're there to respond.
Some call it the worst storm in Wisconsin history, and by any measure, the wind that blew through western Wisconsin last Tuesday was devastating. Roaring through the Twin Cities at 85 miles per hour and picking up speed as it entered Wisconsin. While residents picked up the pieces of their battered homes, Northern States Power Company went to work fixing battered power lines. As soon as they could, NSP crews began...
The most significant operational event that ever occurred in NSP Wisconsin's history happened on July 15th, 1980. To utility, it was the most significant event we had ever seen up until that time. 4 major transmission lines were out of service, 12 69 kV lines were down, and at least 50 substations were out. Perhaps the most unbelievable devastation was the toppling of more than 60 double-pole 345 kV transmission line structures between Menominee and Elk Mound.
They're down as far to the west as I can see. Kind of expected maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 at the most.
Restoring that line would take months and months of work for crews. All the teams came together, focusing on the customer, getting customers restored to service in the safest, most efficient possible way. That spirit of cooperation, the work that our employees are known for.
We're seeing more and more frequent and more intense storms. But I can tell you one thing that I've witnessed in my tenure here is that when times are tough, when the emergencies are there, that's when we shine the best.
I think we're very fortunate we live where we do. It's not always easy to find people that want to go out and climb a pole in the middle of a blizzard.
Safety is certainly key and extraordinarily important to everything that we do.
It's a big deal in the company, but it's probably the biggest deal for me. Still hard to talk about. Young apprentice lineman, and he made a contact with an overhead wire, and his life will never be the same. Makes you understand how serious what we do.
Safety really permeates everything that we expect out of our employees. They embrace it, they live it. We call each other out when somebody's doing something that maybe isn't safe, or maybe they're not following the procedures quite like they should. That's the type of culture that you want, right? And you want to be able to trust the person that's working next to you to do the right thing. So we can stay safe, so we can make sure that we keep the electricity moving through the lines and the natural gas through the pipes.
In 1982, Northern States Power Company of Wisconsin began merger discussions with Lake Superior District Power, which served a large part of northwestern Wisconsin along with 2 counties in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Lake Superior District Power was headquartered out of Ashland and included the Bayfront Power Plant, which we still operate today. That merger was completed in 1987, which about doubled the size of Northern States Power Company of Wisconsin. So today, Northern States Power Company of Wisconsin serves over 500 communities in 26 counties in northwestern Wisconsin, along with 2 counties in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. We serve over 260,000 electric customers and 110,000 natural gas customers, and we have service centers in communities located in northwestern Wisconsin, along with a service center located in Michigan.
In the 1990s, we had been looking at different growth initiatives for Northern States Power. And at the time, there was a sense that the industry was going to consolidate nationally. And we had been looking for opportunities to grow the company that made sense for us. We looked east, we looked west and south, and ultimately, New Century Energies was a terrific merger partner for us. And so that ended up growing into Xcel Energy, the Xcel Energy we know today.
NSP-Wisconsin has been a very strong operating company for Xcel Energy as a whole. With the diversity of the customers that we have in our service territories, we have a very strong outlook economically.
The opportunity to serve more than 500 communities, and typically mid to smaller size, as a national company in those small towns, that comes with some duty. Whether that's partnering with economic initiatives or partnering with initiatives in the arts or partnering with things that attract companies, attract new growth, new residents to the community.
In order to have strong communities, you have to be able to have businesses and jobs and growth. First line on an economic development application is, do you have low-cost power? The next line is your power clean typically? We have very competitive electric rates, and we have the best sustainability profile in the country. But a big part of our success is really tied to the engagement with the communities, the employees that can go out and answer questions from customers. The culture of NSP-Wisconsin really goes back to the people that we have in the company. High quality people that are engaged, that care about one another, that want to do the right thing. Not just for the company, but for the communities and the customers that we serve. When there's a parks cleanup activity, our employees are there. When there's a United Way event for a day of caring, our employees are there, and they're bringing equipment along. They're bringing contractors along to make sure that they can get everything done and then some.
Each year, we donate over $1 million back to the communities that we serve, to our nonprofit partners. And that doesn't include the hours and hours that our employees spend of their own time supporting these communities.
It's a credit to all the employees that are engaged and care and want to make a difference.
When you look back at the projects that maybe were the most impactful, the biggest one for me was Ashland lakefront remediation.
Lake Superior is a huge resource for the United States, and they used to treat railroad ties there, they treated ship stuff there, the timbers and the ropes and the sails, and they dipped it in creosote, and a lot of that stuff just went in the bay. It was a huge project.
We went to work, and I'd say over maybe 7 to 8 years in earnest. We were able to work with the Environmental Protection Agency at the federal level, the local level, the Department of Natural Resources, and a whole slew of vendor partners, most of them from the state of Wisconsin, to find a way to remediate that project. We achieved successful remediation of that site. The community is satisfied. It's become a case study in environmental leadership and remediation. A big project for us, one that took many years, that the team was able to be diligent about and execute successfully on.
Xcel Energy, the first utility in the nation to make a commitment to carbon-free energy by 2050. Certainly a point of pride that we have, a point of pride that we've seen reflected from the communities that we serve.
The strategy to go carbon-free by 2050 was a robust debate internally. How do you reduce your reliance on coal and ultimately end utilization of coal in the company? All huge decisions for a company that had been around for more than a century and relied on assets like that.
We're on track to hit it, and we're actually on track to hit our interim goal of 80% by 2030, adding a significant amount of new wind energy, solar, expanding on our clean legacy hydro units.
Some of those hydro facilities go back to the 1800s, but that is clean, reliable, renewable power. And I often think of it as what comes around again. I mean, we started as a renewable company in many respects.
Wisconsin's pretty unique in the diverse energy resources that we have. We have the biomass plant up at Bayfront on the pristine shores of Lake Superior. We have the refuse-derived fuel plant down at French Island in La Crosse that's burning garbage to create electricity. We have 19 hydros over 8 river systems. We have combustion turbines. In fact, we just got approval from the Wisconsin Commission to repower a former oil-fired plant here in Eau Claire to natural gas. And we're pre-fitting that unit to burn hydrogen in the event that hydrogen becomes an economic fuel source. And we're going to continue to be diverse as we attract more solar investments. In the next decade, we're going to be siting up to 1 gigawatt of solar in NSP-Wisconsin. So as we see changes in the industry, not only in clean transportation and adoption of electric vehicles, but also in artificial intelligence, new data centers, one thing that we know for sure is that the pace of change is going to continue to accelerate. By 2050, we expect the world's economy to be run by electricity to the tune of about 75%. That's an incredible opportunity compared to where we are today. It's also an incredible challenge, right? We have to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place to be able to safely and reliably serve our customers. Right now, what we're doing to set up the future is making sure that we have solid relationships with our communities, with our customers, and ensuring that the culture that we have persists into the future.
It's good to be a part of a forward-thinking company. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for the employees.
Those 1,000+ employees who make it happen every day. I mean, I just had the privilege of working alongside of them, and thank you for all of the support that we had and all of the initiatives that we undertook.
Our success over the last 100 years is closely tied to the people. I mean, that is it. I don't have the words to adequately convey my profound thanks to our employees, to our retirees. These are the people that made the difference. These are the people that made the company what it is today. These are the people that built the foundation that will carry us into the next 100 years. So what I am here to say today is thank you.